Well, those people are fools. You can't listen to those people.
I don't listen to those. I don't listen to many people,
Initially, a lot of people were dismissing your concerns, and they were saying that this object is nothing but a comet, and it's very normal. But then as it got closer and as we got more data, it seems like you're correct.
Well,
this is a very unusual object.
So Joe Rogan just vindicated Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb's controversial theory about Oumuamua being artificial technology. What started as academic mockery became scientific validation as data proved Loeb right. This exposes how institutional gatekeeping suppresses breakthrough discoveries. Let's break down this stunning reversal.
Well, it's also arrogant.
It's arrogant.
Yeah. This object shows that there's no iron.
Oh, no. So then the composition of the plume of gas around
this is before you knew about the composition.
That's right.
That you wrote this paper.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
so as time is going on, you are being shown to be correct.
Well, we found more anomalies.
More anomalies. So this is not a normal thing.
This is textbook scientific vindication. Loeb predicted Oumuamua's unusual composition before we had the data, using theoretical physics. When spectroscopy confirmed no iron content, it validated his methodology. Real science makes testable predictions. Pseudoscience doesn't. The establishment owes him an apology.
What is it about your field in particular that you think motivates mudslinging? Like, why are they averse to risk, and why are they not just averse to risk, but why they are attacking you for proposing what seems to me to be a reasonable alternative, considering the possibilities given all the planets and stars that we know are out there?
The Drake equation suggests millions of technological civilizations exist in our galaxy alone. Yet academia treats alien hypothesis as career suicide. This isn't healthy skepticism, it's institutional dogma. When tenure committees punish breakthrough thinking, we get intellectual stagnation disguised as rigor.
I think the problem with the scientific community is the problem with all communities. They're overrun with ego.
I agree. And as I explained at the beginning,
it's just human beings when they get to a position of any kind of authority, any sort of a position of respect and prestige, they want to protect that at all costs, and they want to keep everyone down who they think is getting unwarranted attention above them, like yourself.
Academic institutions resist paradigm shifts because they threaten existing power structures. Remember Galileo's persecution, continental drift denial, or germ theory resistance. Today's gatekeepers use peer review as a weapon, coordinating attacks through journals and conferences to silence dissent.
It seems like your colleagues are contacting the New York Times to try to dismiss you.
I wrote to the editor at the time and said, look, if this is what you write about science, how can we trust what you write about politics?
Right. Yeah. So these objects, these very small molten droplets,
right.
What did you determine from them?
We found that 10% of them had a chemical composition different than solar system materials that were found before. And again, my colleagues, some of them, said, oh, they found coal ash. The burnt material from coal. So we said, okay, well, let's check. We identified 61 elements from the periodic table and showed that it's definitely not coal ash. And then they said, it's something else from the crust of the earth. We checked that, it's not from the crust of the earth. It's an endless battle to basically, they can throw mud without having access to the material.
But I don't understand. This is a known meteorite. It hit Earth. You collected pieces of material from the scene where it hit.
Right.
And they still want to dismiss it.
Loeb collected actual meteorite fragments from IM-1, analyzed their composition, published peer-reviewed findings, yet gets attacked in major media instead of scientific journals. This bypasses scientific debate entirely, using character assassination when evidence becomes inconvenient for establishment narratives.
It seems like a coordinated attack. It seems like a bunch of people have a personal vendetta.
Yes.
Which is probably based on some petty jealousy, and also they just don't like people stepping ahead of them.
These coordinated attacks follow predictable patterns. Multiple sources publishing simultaneously, similar talking points, personal attacks replacing scientific critique. It's academic mobbing designed to isolate and discredit researchers who challenge orthodoxy. Classic institutional capture behavior.
Okay, that's a factor of 13 less pixels than the Rubin camera has,
That's
observing the
amazing.
real sky. Now, Rubin will potentially, based on estimates, discover an interstellar object like 3i Atlas or even smaller every few months. So we are entering a new era where we will have a lot of visitors that we
Right.
recognize. There might have been traffic all the time that we're not aware of.
Probably, right?
And my recommendation is to establish an organization.
We've explored less than 5% of our oceans. Recent Navy UAP footage shows craft transitioning seamlessly between air and water, physically impossible with known technology. If advanced civilizations exist, ocean bases would be strategically brilliant and virtually undetectable.
They find things that plummet into the water and don't make a wave, and that they pass through the ocean going 500 knots, which we don't have any capability of doing anything
Right.
remotely like that with
Yeah.
the resistance of the ocean.
Representative Tim Burchett said
Yes.
that, yeah.
And Tim Burchett was talking about these 5 areas that they know these anomalous things keep coming from.
Congressman Tim Burchett chairs UAP oversight and has security clearances we lack. When he describes specific underwater phenomena and recurring hotspots, that's congressional testimony backed by classified data. The physics he describes, 500-knot underwater speeds, defies our engineering completely.
When someone from the government tells you about biologics and this crash retrieval program, don't you want to be able to see that somehow?
Of course.
Did you ask if it's possible? Did you try to set up meetings?
David Grush testified under oath about biologics recovered from crash sites, facing felony charges if lying. The Pentagon didn't deny his claims. They classified them. Scientists need access to this material, but bureaucratic walls prevent legitimate research into humanity's biggest question.
That's the current most attractive theory, is that the defense contractors
It's possible, but
because if you had a project that they were trying to back engineer, those are the people that you'd bring it to, the people that make the actual rockets themselves, the people that
Right.
make the jets and the spaceships. You'd bring it to them.
Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman. These companies have deep classification levels and advanced materials labs. If you're reverse engineering alien technology, you'd absolutely use defense contractors with existing security infrastructure. The financial incentives for breakthrough propulsion are enormous.
Let me ask you this, though, because these are beliefs that you have, and they're not necessarily based on actual evidence, because there's not real evidence of other civilizations.
It's just a number game.
Right, but
Yeah.
okay, but that's not evidence.
Not evidence.
Right? So what do you think is the most interesting and compelling evidence of there being extraterrestrial life?
So
Science advances through hypothesis formation before definitive proof exists. Einstein theorized relativity before experimental confirmation. Loeb's approach, collecting physical evidence, analyzing data, forming testable hypotheses, represents rigorous scientific methodology, not wild speculation.
Earth itself has billions of organisms,
Right.
but only one that figured out how to make a cell phone.
right,
And really recently.
right.
You know, so it took a long time and a lot of weird things had to happen before it made us.
The Great Filter concept suggests technological civilizations are extremely rare. But if even 1% of habitable planets develop technology, and some civilizations are millions of years ahead of us, they'd possess capabilities indistinguishable from magic to our current understanding.
Now, let me ask you this. What would you do, like if somebody just wrote you a blank check and said, Avi, you've got some great ideas. We need to figure out how to look for life out there in the universe.
America spends $800 billion annually on defense, but NASA's entire budget is $25 billion. We track every piece of space debris, yet missed Oumuamua until it was leaving. Properly funded sky surveys with dedicated AI analysis could revolutionize our understanding of visiting objects.
What are the best images that we have of 3i Atlas?
The best one so far was released by the Hubble Space Telescope, and it shows this jet pointed towards the sun. It was taken on July 21st, 2025.
That's
And-
the most clear image? Is
Yes,
that what it
that's
is?
the best because
See if you can find that, Jamie.
yeah, it's actually in my one of my no, that's from the ground, Gemini South. That's more recent. That's at the end of August. So in it's blue in one of my slides. You can see of 3i Atlas, July 21st. Yeah, so it's one of the slides that has a blue with. Yeah, you see it on the right here.
So
You
that's it?
We can read license plates from satellites, but got one blurry image of humanity's first confirmed interstellar visitor. That's a stunning failure of scientific priorities. Better imaging capabilities should be standard for objects this significant, especially when they exhibit anomalous behavior.
Are considered NASA-wide news because the federal government isn't shut down. Communications of NASA news has been suspended.
And
so that's what it is? Like they would have to release it through NASA?
Maybe they have written in the contract that they need approval from NASA, but for NASA not to approve it?
But NASA can't approve it because they're not working.
Government shutdowns blocking NASA communications while potential alien technology passes through our solar system perfectly captures bureaucratic dysfunction. Scientific discovery shouldn't depend on congressional budget negotiations. We need independent research institutions free from political interference.
Because if it was covered with water, if it was just ice, you would see this enormous tail, correct?
Comets develop massive tails from ice sublimation as they approach the sun. Basic physics. Oumuamua showed zero outgassing despite close solar approach, defying comet behavior completely. Combined with its acceleration and unusual shape, natural explanations become increasingly implausible.
I think we could end it with that. It's a very perfect way of phrasing this whole thing. I'm fascinated by it all, and I'm really happy there's someone like you that's looking into this with such curiosity and that you're undeterred by all these haters.
Loeb demonstrates intellectual courage rare in modern academia. While colleagues prioritize career safety, he follows evidence regardless of professional cost. Science advances through such principled researchers willing to challenge consensus when data demands it.
Unlimited possibilities, especially if we developed artificial general superintelligence and it helps us. And it starts devising new methods of propulsion, new methods of, who knows, seeding the universe with other life.
Current AI development suggests artificial general intelligence within years, not decades. AGI could solve propulsion physics, material science, and energy generation problems that stymie us today. Civilizations with million-year head starts likely achieved technological singularities long ago.